Hello ladies and gentlemen and movie lovers of all kind, and welcome back to the channel. As always, I am your host Brett Murphy, and for today's video I have a brand new movie review for you all, and I am going to be reviewing Bullet Train. So Bullet Train is the latest action movie to hit theaters. It's directed by David Leitch, who is best known for co-directing the first John Wick and then going on to direct Atomic Blonde, Deadpool 2, and Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw. And it boasts a massively stacked cast consisting of Brad Pitt, Aaron Taylor-Johnson, Brian Tyree Henry, Sandra Bullock, Joey King, and many more. And it's safe to say I was pretty excited for this one. It not only ended up on just one, but both of my most anticipated movies for this year's videos. The one I did at the beginning of the year and the one I just did this very week for the rest of the year. So, did it live up to my expectations? Well folks, we're about to find out. As always with my new movie reviews, this will be 110% spoiler free, so if you have yet to see the movie or you're watching this video to see if it's right for you, you can proceed with confidence. Before we hop into the actual review itself, I just wanted to let you all know that I have an entire playlist dedicated to all of my new movie reviews, so be sure to check that out and I guarantee you'll find something you like. And so without further ado, let's hop right into things. The first thing up on my positives list is indeed that massively stacked cast I was talking about. Everyone, and I mean everyone, delivers. Brad Pitt, Aaron Taylor-Johnson, Brian Tyree Henry, Joey King, Hiroyuki Sanada, Michael Shannon, Bad Bunny even isn't half bad, Karen Fukuhara is in there as well, so is Zazie Beetz. There is a ton of talent on display in this movie. I truly did feel that each and every one of them was great. They play up these very eccentric, over-the-top, zany, and colorful characters very well, and I found their performances to be really entertaining the whole way through. Next up on my positives list is the action, because if you've seen any David Leitch movie, you know that this guy knows how to do action. It is fast-paced, it is stylish, it is extremely gory and violent, it's brutal but in all the right ways. That's exactly what I was expecting and what I was hoping for heading into this one, and on that front it totally delivered. Nailed it. Every single action scene is insanely entertaining. And the next thing I wanted to discuss is the style of this movie, and that can be anything ranging from the editing to the cinematography, to the style of storytelling, to the graphics, to the lighting and the coloring, to the set and costume design. They nailed absolutely all of it. This movie was really able to carve out its own unique identity. We're not getting very many original action movies anymore, and this is definitely one of them, and definitely worth checking out for its very unique style alone. Next is the soundtrack. If you watch the trailer, you can already get a taste of that soundtrack. It's a lot of remixes of classic songs, a lot of upbeat and kind of funky, weird music choices, but it really worked with the tone that they were going for. And the last positive that I had for this movie is the comedy. It is very much so an action comedy, and the comedy landed with me, at least personally, pretty much every time. I chuckled at the smaller jokes, there was a lot of running jokes that I found were hilarious, and there are a lot of bigger, more over-the-top, goofier moments that also really landed with me. As always though, sadly, I do have a few negatives that need addressing. The first one being that I feel the movie is just a bit too long, like the tiniest touch too long. It's a little over 2 hours, and I didn't think that that was going to be that big of a deal, and that's not a big deal, but I thought the movie was kind of coming towards a close, so I checked my watch just to see, and only found out that we were just a little over an hour in, and then after that point, does it still remain entertaining? Yes, absolutely. There really is never a dull moment in this movie. However, I just found the second half wasn't quite as fast-paced as the first half was. So I do feel they probably could have shaved it down. Not by much, honestly, just like 10, 15, maybe 20 at the most. The next negative I wanted to address is that I feel the story got a bit too convoluted for its own good. Now, don't get me wrong, I love having mysteries, I love having webs to unweave. Typically, it's fun, but this one just goes a step too far, I think, in some regards. There are some connections that I was like, that's a bit of a stretch, and others that just felt really unnecessarily convoluted and a little too wordy, a little just too out there for me. Not that I wanted it totally dumbed down, because I did enjoy the way that it was presented to us, but there were just a few things that I was like, alright, come on now, like, you're stretching it here, and there's really no need. And the last negative that I had is that I just found the final act, or really just the big final action sequence, was a bit too over the top. For the most part, yes, the movie overall is very over the top, but the fight scenes and, people getting stabbed and shot and stuff like that, like, they reacted mostly realistically to it. Then you get to this final act, and it kind of jumps into like Fast and Furious superhero mode, where people are just surviving these ridiculous things that there's no way any real human would ever be able to survive. I just would have liked if they held back a tiny bit rather than going a little bit further, which is what they end up doing, because I found that the action and a lot of the stuff that goes on up until that final act is pretty much like perfect action movie stuff. However, this final act, although still insanely enjoyable, was a bit too much. Like, you do have to stretch your belief a little bit. You have to understand that, okay, they're just looking to have fun here. And that is exactly what this movie is. It is just pure entertainment from start to finish. I'll say it again, there really is never a dull moment, because even the more down-to-earth character moments, there's a lot of comedy spliced in there. The characters are super charming and charismatic and very over the top. The action is fan-freaking-tastic. Again, David Leitch, if you look at his filmography, the dude knows action, and it is no different here. So although I did feel that it was a bit too long for its own good, and some of the storytelling elements were a little too needlessly convoluted, and I think the final act could have been dialed back just a touch, I had a blast with this movie. Don't get me wrong, it is some of the most fun I've had in a movie theater in a long time, and I mean just pure mindless fun, because I've had a lot of fun with some movies like Top Gun Maverick, for instance, but this is just pure action movie bliss. So if you are an action movie junkie, if you like any of David Leitch's other movies like I mentioned earlier, or you just want to have a fun action comedy to kick your feet up, grab your gummies or bucket of popcorn and a big old thing of soda pop and just turn off your brain, or really keep it on, because there's a lot of characters to follow here, you're gonna have a good time with this one, because I most certainly did. And so with all that being said, I am going to be giving Bullet Train an 8 out of 10. So that is all for today's video, folks. Be sure to let me know down in the comments if you agree or disagree with my review. While you're at it, feel free to let me know if you have already seen Bullet Train, and if you have, what would you give it out of 10? If you haven't, are you looking forward to it? Are you going to see it? Let me know. If you enjoyed that video, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. And if you'd like to see more content, consider subscribing to my channel and ringing that little bell icon. That way you can be notified about all of my latest uploads. And as always, stay safe. Thank you so much for watching, and that's a wrap. Hey you, yeah you, if you made it this far, just know I appreciate you, and while you're here, consider hitting that subscribe button.